Okay, welcome back everybody to part 2 of our 2x2 multiplication videos. And in this question, just to review, we are going to work together to answer this question. How can we solve 2x2 multiplication problems using the standard algorithm? So, sorry for that stray mark there, but this is part 2 where we're going to now do some regrouping of our multiplication. So in that first model problem box, we'll get going. Okay, so for our first problem, we're going to multiply 32 times 46. You're going to make a lot of connections with the first video because the steps are all the same. But just like with a lot of the math, as we scaffold our thinking, we're going to add one more step. Okay, so make sure that you pay attention to what that extra step is. So I'm going to change the colors up a little bit here, and I'm going to start off focusing again on the 32 times 6, so on this ones place right over here. And I know that 6 multiplied by 2 equals 12. Okay, and in our 2 by 1 learning, what we did is we put the ones place here and the tens place here, and sometimes I put that plus 1 so that you know that you have to add that extra place there. So when I go to my second problem, I'm going to go 6 multiplied by 3, okay, plus 1, using my parentheses because that means do me first. And I know that 6 times 3 is 18, and I add 1 to it, and I'm going to get 19. So I have 9 and 1, okay? Now, as we continue here, there's a couple of things I'm going to do. One, I'm going to go ahead and add that 0, that placeholder here, okay? What I'm also going to do is I'm going to separate my thinking with a line. So when I drew all the facts over here, I'm going to change it to red. All right, just like I did in part 1, I'm going to cross out that 6 because I don't need it right now, okay? What I'm also going to do is I'm going to cross out this plus 1. It's this number that I regrouped, okay? And the reason why I'm crossing that out is that we don't have to regroup with that one anymore, okay? So, as you might remember before, is I'm going to go 4 multiplied by 2 over here, okay? And I know that 4 multiplied by 2 equals 8. And I'm going to keep it nice and lined up and put the 8 right over here, okay? And now I'm going to go 4 times 3. And 4 multiplied by 3 equals 12. So I'll put the 2 here and the 1 here. And I'll go ahead and I'll add up my partial products right over here. So 2 plus 0 is 2. 9 plus 8 is 17. I'll regroup up here. 1 plus 1 is 2. Plus 2 is 4. And the 1 can come straight down here. So 32 minus 46 equals 1,472. Now, for practice problem 1, I'm going to leave the choice up to you. You can either work along with me and solve this, okay, because it's some trickier steps, or you can hit pause, challenge yourself. Say, can I figure out this one on my own? And then hit pause and we'll solve it together either way. So what we're now going to do is I will go through my colors here, right? And let me get the pen over here. Where'd you go? There you are. All right, so now I'm going to work ahead. I'm going to go 5 times 5, okay? So I know that 5 multiplied by 5 equals 25. Place my 5 here, my plus 2 over here, okay? Now I'm going to go ahead and multiply 5 times 6. And I know that 5 times 6 plus 2 up here, okay, plus 2 equals, do me first here, it's 30 plus 2, and that equals 32. So I know that 65 times 5 is 325. So now what we'll do is we'll now focus on this tens digit here and do our multiplication with that tens digit. But before I go too far, I'm going to get in the habit of putting my placeholder, which is the 0 here, crossing out the digit that I'm no longer working with, and crossing out this plus 2 so that I don't get confused with my next steps. Because my next step is to really multiply 65 times 2 And I'll start by going 2 times 5. I'll draw a line here so I can separate my math thinking. 2 times 5 equals 10. Now, pay close attention. I'm going to place a 0 here in the 10, and I'm also above this going to put plus 1, okay, because I'm regrouping a second time, okay, but I'm not getting them confused because I've crossed this one out already. Now, I multiplied 2 times 5. I'm now going to be multiplying 2 times 6 plus 1, okay? So 2 multiplied by 6 plus 1, put my parentheses here, 12 plus 1 equals 13. So I place my 3 here, my 1 here, right? And add up my numbers. I have 5 plus 0 is 5, 2 plus 0 is 2, 3 plus 3 is 6, and 1, just bring it down here, is 1. And I know that even though that addition seems easy, avoid that voice in your head that says you need to rush, okay? So 65 plus 25 equals 1,625. So the only extra step in this regrouping is to make sure that you've crossed out the old number that you don't need anymore, because you might, depending on the digits that you are multiplying, have to regroup a second time. So for practice problem 2, please solve 39 times 54. Solve it on your organizer. Bring your answer and your math thinking and your questions to class the next day, okay? And just to wrap part 2 up, what we did is we answered the question together: how can we multiply 2 by 2 digit multiplication problems using the standard algorithm?